In 2021, paleontologists working in the scorching heat of Morocco's Atlas Mountains pulled something from the ancient rock that made them question everything they thought they knew about dinosaurs. A single rib bone, but not just any rib bone. This one had a 1-meter-long spike fused directly to it, projecting outward like a medieval weapon. When they first saw it, the research team assumed it had to be a mistake, some kind of fossilization error, or maybe contamination from another specimen. But as they kept digging, more bones emerged, more spikes, more impossible anatomy that should not exist in any creature that ever lived. What they had discovered was Spicomelis, a dinosaur so bizarre that when paleontologists first presented it at academic conferences, it drew audible gasps from audiences of scientists who thought they had seen everything. This was not just another armored dinosaur. This was something that rewrote the rules of what vertebrate life could even look like. And here's the thing that absolutely blew my mind when I started researching this. Spicomelis is not an outlier. It is not some weird evolutionary experiment that failed and disappeared. It represents something much more profound about dinosaurs that we are only beginning to understand. For over a century, we have been thinking about dinosaurs as giant lizards, slow, cold-blooded creatures that dominated Earth through brute size alone. But the discoveries of the last 2 decades have shattered that image completely. Dinosaurs were not normal by any measure we use to understand life today. They were biological experiments pushed to extremes that modern animals cannot even approach. They survived in environments that would kill everything alive today. They evolved anatomical features so strange that when we find them, we literally do not know how they could have functioned. And they did all of this for 150 million years, making them the most successful large animals in Earth's history. Right now, we are living through what paleontologists call a golden era of dinosaur discovery. This year alone, scientists have identified 44 new dinosaur species. That is nearly one every week, and each discovery is more mind-bending than the last. We are not just finding bigger versions of dinosaurs we already knew. We are uncovering creatures that challenge our fundamental understanding of how life works. Take Yiqi, a small dinosaur from China that had membranous wings like a bat instead of feathered wings like a bird. It possessed a long rod-like bone extending from its wrist that supported wing membranes, creating a flying animal that looked like nothing else that ever existed. Consider Dinosaurs, known for decades only from a pair of massive arms over 2 meters long. When paleontologists finally found a complete skeleton, they discovered an animal with a humped back, a duck-like bill, and long legs that fed on plants and fish. It was like finding a creature assembled from spare parts of completely different animals. But it is not just individual species that are strange. It is the entire concept of what dinosaur life was like. Recent research has revealed that many dinosaurs had complex color patterns across their scales and feathers. They were not the uniform gray and brown creatures we see in movies. Some had brilliant reds, iridescent blues, and intricate patterns that would make them stand out like tropical birds in a forest. Even more shocking is where these animals lived and thrived. We have found dinosaur fossils within the Arctic Circle, creatures that spent their entire lives in polar conditions where winter temperatures dropped well below freezing and the sun did not rise for months at a time. These were not seasonal visitors. They were permanent residents of environments so extreme that most modern animals would die within days. In the opposite extreme, dinosaurs flourished in desert conditions that make today's Sahara look hospitable. The Cretaceous period saw the expansion of some of Earth's most brutal desert environments, particularly in what is now the Gobi Desert region. Temperatures regularly exceeded 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Water sources were scarce and scattered across hundreds of miles, and yet dinosaurs did not just survive there. They evolved into some of their most spectacular forms. Some of these desert dinosaurs developed enlarged nasal passages to recapture moisture from exhaled air. Others obtained virtually all their water from their food, evolving metabolisms that could function on the edge of dehydration. and they did this while maintaining the energy levels needed to hunt, fight, and reproduce in one of the most demanding environments Earth has ever produced. This is not just about individual adaptations. It is about a fundamental difference in how dinosaur biology worked compared to anything alive today. Modern animals have limits, temperature ranges they cannot survive, pressures they cannot withstand, and environments they simply cannot colonize. But dinosaurs seem to operate by different rules entirely. The more we dig into the fossil record, the more we realize that calling dinosaurs normal in any sense is like calling a hurricane a gentle breeze. These were creatures that pushed the boundaries of what vertebrate life could achieve, and they did it in ways that seem engineered for extremes. The evidence for this biological extremism is carved into their bones themselves. When paleontologists examine dinosaur fossils under microscopes, they find growth patterns unlike anything in modern vertebrates. Dinosaur bones show periods of explosive growth followed by complete shutdown, then explosive growth again. It is as if they could literally switch their metabolism on and off depending on environmental conditions. But here is where things get truly bizarre. Some dinosaurs evolved features so anatomically impossible that we still do not understand how they functioned. Remember Spicomelis and those meter-long spikes fused to its ribs? Those ribs are supposed to be attachment points for muscles that control breathing and movement. But with massive spikes growing directly out of them, where could the muscles possibly attach? How did this animal breathe? How did it move without impaling itself? The answer reveals something profound about dinosaur physiology. They were not just scaled-up versions of modern reptiles. They were operating on completely different biological principles. Recent biomechanical studies suggest that many dinosaurs had internal support systems we do not see in any living animal. Hollow bones filled with air sacs like birds, but taken to extremes that would make a modern bird's skeleton look solid by comparison. Some sauropods, those long-necked giants, had vertebrae that were more air than bone. We are talking about animals weighing 50 tons, supported by skeletons that were essentially biological scaffolding. The engineering required to make this work defies everything we know about structural mechanics. Yet these animals did not just survive. They dominated terrestrial ecosystems for tens of millions of years. And then there are the predation strategies that push beyond anything we see in nature today. Carnotaurus had forward-facing horns above its eyes, and arms so reduced they were essentially vestigial stumps. This was a predator that had evolved to be a living battering ram, charging prey headfirst at speeds that would shatter the skull of any modern animal. Its entire body plan was built around delivering devastating head-on collisions. Therizinosaurus represents the opposite extreme. It had claws longer than baseball bats, yet it was herbivorous. Imagine a creature the size of a T-Rex with 3-foot-long razor claws that it used exclusively for stripping vegetation. The mechanical forces required to swing claws that massive would tear apart the shoulder joints of any modern animal. Yet Therizinosaurus did this routinely for millions of years. The sensory capabilities of these animals push into realms that seem almost supernatural. Parasaurolophus had hollow crests that functioned as resonating chambers, allowing them to communicate across distances of dozens of miles using infrasonic calls below human hearing range. Entire herds could coordinate their movements across continental migrations using sound frequencies that traveled through the ground itself. Recent computed tomography scans of dinosaur skulls reveal brain structures devoted to processing information in ways that have no modern equivalent. Some species had enlarged regions dedicated to three-dimensional spatial memory that would put modern navigation systems to shame. They were building mental maps of territories spanning thousands of square miles, remembering the locations of seasonal food sources, water supplies, and safe nesting grounds with photographic precision. But perhaps the most unsettling discovery is evidence that some dinosaurs planned their attacks with cognitive sophistication that rivals modern predators. Fossilized trackways show coordinated hunting patterns where multiple predators approached prey from different angles, timing their attacks to eliminate escape routes. This was not pack hunting driven by instinct. This was strategic thinking that required abstract reasoning and complex communication. The implications go far beyond just understanding extinct animals. If dinosaurs could achieve this level of biological and cognitive sophistication 100 million years ago, it forces us to reconsider what we think life is capable of achieving. Modern ecosystems might not represent the peak of evolutionary development. They might represent a recovery phase, a rebuilding period after the most successful large animals in Earth's history were wiped out. The strangest part is that we are still just scratching the surface. Every new fossil site reveals creatures that push the boundaries even further. Each discovery forces paleontologists to expand their understanding of what vertebrate life can accomplish. We are not just learning about dinosaurs, we are discovering the outer limits of biological possibility. The question is not why dinosaurs were so strange. The question is why everything else seems so normal by comparison. Every bone tells the same story. Life on Earth once operated by rules we can barely comprehend, achieving biological extremes that make today's most successful animals look like rough drafts. Dinosaurs were not just different, they were what happens when evolution gets 150 million years to perfect the impossible. And we are only beginning to understand what they were truly capable of.